World War II left marks that can still be seen today. In this video, we compare powerful then and now photos from places where history changed forever. Please check out all the original sources in the description. U.S. troops climbed the E1 draw above Omaha Beach near Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer, France, on June 7, 1944. The former German strongpoint still overlooks the peaceful valley. A German communications bunker disguised as a shop stood hidden at Utah Beach in Normandy, France, during the occupation. The bunker survives today as a restored museum exhibit. Canadian troops patrolled Rue Saint-Pierre in Caen, Normandy, France, after fierce fighting in July 1944. The rebuilt street is now filled with shoppers, cafes, and everyday city life. A British convoy led by Cromwell tanks moved inland from Gold Beach in Normandy, France, shortly after D-Day. The same country road now welcomes tourists exploring the historic landing sites. A crashed P-47 Thunderbolt lay on Sword Beach at Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, Normandy, France, after D-Day. The shoreline is now a peaceful seaside resort, welcoming visitors each summer. U.S. Army Rangers scaled the cliffs of Pointe du Hoc, Normandy, France, on D-Day to destroy German gun positions. Bomb craters and shattered bunkers still mark the battlefield. Chambois in Normandy was devastated during the battle that closed the Falaise Pocket in August 1944. The rebuilt Main Street is peaceful, with the church still overlooking the village. Major David Curry accepted the surrender of German troops at Saint-Lambert-sur-Dève, Normandy, France, in August 1944. The village is now peaceful, remembered for Curry's Victoria Cross. St. Thomas's Hospital in London was left in ruins after a devastating Blitz attack in 1940. The hospital has been rebuilt beside the River Thames across from Parliament. Place de la Concorde in Paris, France, erupted in celebration during the city's liberation before sniper fire scattered the crowds. The square is now filled with visitors instead of fear. Omaha Beach in Normandy, France, was covered with smoke and gunfire as Allied troops landed on D-Day, June 6, 1944. The shoreline is now quiet, marked by memorials to the fallen. Allied military police drove through the shattered streets of Isigny-sur-Mer, France, after heavy fighting in 1944. The rebuilt town center is now lined with homes and local businesses. Avenue Foch in Paris, France, hosted German occupation parades after the city's capture in June 1940. The Grand Boulevard has returned to everyday life with no visible signs of the war. Rue Saint-Placide in Paris, France, was blocked by resistance barricades during the August 1944 uprising. The street is now lined with shops and everyday city life. American engineers attended a service at La Madeleine Chapel near Utah Beach, Normandy, France, just after D-Day. The restored 17th century chapel still stands beside the historic landing area. London's largest World War II bomb crater, formed after Bank Station was hit during the Blitz in 1941. The rebuilt Bank Interchange is now one of the city's busiest transport hubs. Canadian troops crossed flooded streets in Loith, Netherlands, aboard amphibious vehicles in February 1945. The rebuilt village is now quiet, dry, and surrounded by farmland. Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt visited the Louvre in Paris, France, during the German occupation in 1940. The museum now welcomes millions without any trace of Nazi control. American paratroopers drove a captured German Kubelwagen along Rue Holgat in Carentan, France, after its liberation in 1944. The repaired building still stands, with the cafe operating today. U.S. Army Rangers marched along the seafront in Weymouth, England, on June 5, 1944, before sailing for Normandy. The same promenade is now filled with tourists enjoying the beach. German prisoners waited at Bernières-sur-Mer station in Normandy, France, during 1944. The station now serves as a tourist office, welcoming visitors instead of prisoners. Villa Denise et Roger overlooked Juno Beach in Normandy, France, just after Canadian troops liberated the area in 1944. It remains a preserved landmark beside the quiet coast. British Sherman tanks rolled through the shattered streets of Caen, Normandy, France, after weeks of fierce fighting in 1944. The rebuilt city has little trace of the devastation. Medics loaded wounded soldiers in Sainte-Mère-Église, Normandy, France, after fierce fighting on D-Day. The restored Main Street is now one of Normandy's best-known historic landmarks. Newton Street in Birmingham, England, was left badly damaged after German bombing in 1941. Modern buildings now line the restored street, leaving little evidence of the destruction. The church at Vierville-sur-Mer, Normandy, France, stood in ruins after the fighting around Omaha Beach. Its restored cemetery still contains the graves of British soldiers. Scottish troops entered the ruined streets of Caen, Normandy, France, on July 9, 1944, after weeks of brutal fighting. The rebuilt city has long recovered from the battle. German bunker WN-65 at Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer. Normandy, France, defended Omaha Beach on D-Day with an 88mm gun. The concrete bunker still stands above the shoreline as a memorial. German prisoners captured after the Normandy campaign waited under guard at Nonon-le-Pin, France, in August 1944. The former prison camp has become peaceful farmland once again. Dog Green Sector at Omaha Beach in Normandy, France, was littered with wounded and fallen soldiers during the invasion. Calm waves now wash over the same sands where the battle once raged. Utah Beach in Normandy, France, was lined with floating harbor sections supplying the Allied invasion force. Rusting remnants can still be seen along the shoreline more than 80 years later. Carentan, France, was buried beneath rubble after days of brutal combat before its liberation in June 1944. The restored street is now filled with shops, leaving little sign of the battle. Captured German soldiers stood at Juno Beach in Normandy, France during 1944, with Villa Denise et Roger behind them. The restored villa now overlooks a peaceful shoreline. Aachen Town Hall in Germany stood scarred after World War II. Bombings left its towers burned out. The restored Rat House once again overlooks the city's historic square. Germany's Münne Dam was heavily damaged during the famous Dam Busters raid in 1943. The rebuilt dam now stands peacefully above the quiet reservoir. A U.S. military police officer watched a Stuart tank roll through Le Tronquay, France in 1944. The peaceful country road today gives little hint of its wartime past. Rentforder Strasse in Gladbeck, Germany, was filled with wrecked trams and shattered homes in 1945. The rebuilt street has changed completely, and trams no longer run there. Pont Neuf in Paris, France, was blocked by resistance barricades during the August 1944 uprising. The historic bridge now carries peaceful traffic across the Seine. A German soldier surrendered in Normandy, France, during the summer of 1944. The quiet village today bears little resemblance to its wartime battlefield. Soldiers fought through heavy German fire at Omaha Beach's Dog Green sector in Normandy, France on D-Day. The same stretch of coastline is now peaceful, welcoming visitors instead of invading troops. Omaha Beach in Normandy, France, was filled with deadly obstacles at low tide during the Allied landings in 1944. The beach is now open and peaceful, welcoming visitors throughout the year. Trevière, France, was left in ruins after fierce fighting followed the Normandy landings in 1944. The town has been rebuilt, with only memorials recalling its wartime destruction. American soldiers posed beside a World War I memorial in Carentan, France, shortly after liberation in 1944. The monument still stands in a quiet neighborhood that has long recovered. Adolf Hitler viewed the Eiffel Tower from the Palais de Chaillot in Paris, France, after the occupation in 1940. The famous terrace now welcomes visitors instead of Nazi leaders. B Company advanced through Oberdorla, Germany in April 1945 as the war in Europe neared its end. The restored street is now peaceful, with little evidence of the fierce fighting. The Catholic House in Żnin, Poland, was turned into a German cinema during the occupation in 1941. The building now serves the local community with no trace of wartime signage. U.S. troops and military vehicles crowded Cherbourg's Quai de Caligny, France, after the city's capture in June 1944. The rebuilt harbor is now busy with civilian traffic. French 2nd Armored Division guns stood before Notre Dame in Paris, France during Liberation Day on August 26, 1944. The plaza today shows no trace of the fighting. St. Paul's Cathedral in London survived repeated Luftwaffe raids during the Blitz. Fully restored, it still dominates the city's skyline just as it did during the war.